This is where the flame of liberty burns bright. This is the Jason Veely Program.
Hello, my friends. Jason Veely here. You're listening to the Jason Veely Program. If you'd like to get in touch with me, here's how you do it. JasonVeelyRadio@gmail.com. Again, that's JAYSONVELEY radio@gmail.com. Let me just say, folks, that for the next week and a half to 2 weeks, I'm going to be extremely busy with midterms. I am in grad school. It's the end of the semester, lots of projects, lots of tests. And so I'll try to keep up with my YouTube channel as much as I can. I'll try to put out as many radio shows as I can. But just know that there might be a few days here and there that I unfortunately can't put out any new content. Again, just because I'm so busy this time of year. But have no fear. Again, in about 2 weeks or so, it'll be the start of summer break, and then I'm good to go after that. But you might have noticed that last week I wasn't on the air a couple days. There were, I think, one day I didn't upload any new content on my YouTube channel. Again, that's because I was so busy with schoolwork. So I just wanted to throw that out there for those of you who were wondering. I want to take some time tonight to talk a little bit about what's ahead in the next 2 years. Can you believe that 2 years from now it'll be 2020 already? It's just crazy to me how fast time goes. We need to, in my opinion, take some time as conservatives, take some time as the Republican Party and so forth, to look down the road, to assess the situation, to assess where we are, and then plan and adjust accordingly. This is very, very important, I feel. Because the midterms, folks, are less than 7 months away. The 2018 midterms, less than 7 months away. It's going to be here before we know it. And to be honest with you, look, a lot of people have been asking me what I think about the 2018 midterms. I've talked to a few different people about this, and I tell them all the same thing. I say that I'm I shouldn't say very worried. I'm concerned. Let's put it that way. I don't think, as many other people do, it seems, that it's going to be a landslide victory for the Republican Party. I think that it's going to be a challenge. I hear that the Democrats are talking about this big blue wave that's going to come in, and I also hear people on our own side saying, "Oh, there's no blue wave." I'm saying that it's very possible. It's very possible that the Democrat Party does very well in the 2018 midterm elections. I don't think we're gonna, it's going to be a landslide victory. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. I think that there are some things that we need to be worried about. I really do. Because, folks, I'll remind you that if we lose the Senate in November, the Democrats are going to start with the impeachment process almost immediately. Almost immediately. Now, you might ask yourself, what do they have to impeach Donald Trump? What evidence? What would they base the impeachment process on? I really have no idea. But as we do know, the Democrats, working with the mainstream media, are able to whip up manufactured scandals left and right. And so, mark my words, they'll find something to impeach Trump over if they win the Senate. And so that, to me, is a big concern. If they take the Senate, it's not going to be good. Now, the House, I think, we'll be okay with. I think we'll be able to hold on to that. But the Senate, folks, I mean, the Republican majority is razor thin. Razor thin. And it's concerning to me. And really what it boils down to, and I was thinking about this as I was doing show prep, really what it boils down to is two reasons why I'm a little bit concerned and worried about the 2018 midterms. Number one, folks, I think that the young people in this country, and saying this as a millennial myself. I think that the young people in this country are, first of all, we know that they're overwhelmingly left. We know that as a fact. There's been statistics out there that prove this. Really, all you got to do is walk around a college campus for a day or two, and you know that this is true, that the majority of young people are liberals. And I think they're fired up. I really do. I think they are fired up. I think that they're ticked off at the fact that Hillary Clinton lost in 2016. I think they're ticked off at President Trump. And the reason why is because they're buying into this this outrage that's being perpetuated night and day by the mainstream media, by Hollywood, by certain celebrities, and so on and so forth. This narrative that Donald Trump is a racist and he's a bigot and he's he surrounds himself with white supremacists and all the rest. He hates immigrants. These messages are incredibly simplistic, and yet they resonate with young people. I'm telling you, they resonate with young people. You look at what happened with the March for Our Lives rally. Look, we all know that the people who spoke at the March for Our Lives rally, David Hogg, Emma Gonzalez, Cameron, whatever his last name is, these guys don't know what the hell they're talking about, right? We know that. They're they're speaking purely on the basis of emotion, and that's it. However, and I said this a few weeks back, I think that rally was extremely effective. I really do. Maybe not necessarily for the older Americans, but I mean when it comes to firing up the young liberals in this country, I think that rally was very, very effective. I think it was very effective. And so we're going to have to wait and see, folks, what happens. But I tell you what, I read this article from, where was it here? The Washington Examiner. And I've been meaning to read this actually for a few weeks now, but I never got around to it. And now it just happens to be convenient for what I'm talking about tonight. Again, Washington Examiner. According to a millennial poll, a historic youth wave is coming in 2018. Democrats outnumber GOP 2-1. Younger Americans have... Let's pause that. I don't know if you heard that video, but these damn pop-ups, folks, whenever I don't print out my articles. I just kind of have them up on my computer screen, and there's 50,000 pop-ups, these videos going, these audio clips going. Just let me read the damn article. All right, here we go. It's paused. I'm ready to go. Younger Americans, again, this is the Washington Examiner. Younger Americans have long told pollsters that they plan to vote, and they are set to make good on that promise this fall in historic numbers. And when they do, it will be a wave favoring the Democrats, according to a new survey of voters aged 18 to 29 from Harvard University's Institute of Politics that was released earlier this month. The survey found that 53% probably or definitely will be voting, and of those most likely to vote, 55% lean Democratic and 21% Republican. Now, folks, I attribute this, again, to the fact that young people, young leftists, are fired up right now. They detest Donald Trump. And that's, by the way, that's through no fault of Donald Trump himself, by the way. It's just, the nature of these young liberals. They buy into what they hear in the mainstream media. They buy into what they hear from Hollywood and so on and so forth. That Trump is a bigot, that he's a racist. And it fires them up. It fires them up. They want to feel like they're making a difference. They want to feel like they're making a difference. And so that's why we're seeing, at least those are some of the reasons why I believe we're seeing, the young Democrat voters outnumbering young Republican voters 2-1 in the coming 2018 election. They're more fired up. They're more ticked off. And so that's really the first reason why I think that the 2018 midterm elections are concerning, at least for the Republican Party. The second reason, folks, and I've talked about this in the past too, is that the Republican Party really is not delivering on some of the key promises. They're still not. The leadership still sucks. Paul Ryan, I'm sorry. Look, I know he's a nice guy. I know he's very articulate. I'll even say that he's smart. He is. But when it comes to leading the Republican Party, he's a failure. I'm sorry, but he is. He's not a conservative. I don't think he is. Might be conservative in some different areas, but overall, if you want a fearless, bold, passionate, conservative, Paul Ryan is not that. It's just the truth. And then on the other side, in the Senate, you got Mitch McConnell. And don't even get me started on him. Mitch the Turtle McConnell. Poor leadership in the Republican Party. Not really getting anything done. Where the hell is the wall? Obamacare, last I checked, still exists. Spending is going up. That damn omnibus bill, $1.3 trillion. And you know, folks, it's really not all President Trump's fault. As a matter of fact, I would argue that it's mostly the Republicans in Congress's fault, who are constantly obstructing what Donald Trump wants to do. And honestly, folks, I think that a lot of Republicans out there are getting tired. Of the same old thing. I think that a lot of Republicans out there are thinking to themselves, I vote, but what's the point? I vote, but what's the point? They're thinking to themselves, I vote for these Republicans who go out there and campaign on promising everything in the kitchen sink, promising that they're going to cut spending, promising that they're going to get the wall done, promising that they're going to repeal Obamacare, and all the rest, and then they go to Washington and nothing happens. People are getting sick and tired of this. And so it's very possible that in the 2018 midterms, people are just so tired and so frustrated and so, hopeless, that they might not turn out to vote. Now, on the contrary, I will say this. See, this could work both ways. The fact that people are tired and feeling hopeless could cause them to stay at home and not turn out to vote in the 2018 midterms. Or, on the contrary, it could piss them off more and drive them out to vote. So, that's up in the air. That part of this is up in the air. So those are just some of my general thoughts on the 2018 midterms. I'm going to share some more thoughts with you about the 2018 midterms after the break. But first, folks, what about 2020? What about 2020? I think that there are a lot of factors that we need to consider. A lot of factors that go into how well Donald Trump will do versus, how well the Democrat Party will do challenging him. Factors include third-party runs. By the way, I better not see a single Republican running third party. I tell you what, folks, if I see a Republican running third party, you will hear me yelling behind this microphone, mark my words. Mark my words. I don't put up with that. These people, they go out there, they say, well, I'm going to challenge Donald Trump. I'm going to run third party. No, what you're doing is you're sabotaging our chances. And you're going to help a Democrat get elected. That's what you're doing. We got this Brad Thor out there saying that he's going to challenge Donald Trump. And look, I'll be honest, I don't really know much about Brad Thor. The guy says he's a conservative. Some of my friends on social media seem to like him. Fine. I don't know anything about him. But he's going to challenge Donald Trump in the Republican primaries in 2020. Fine. That's a little different. The primary process is a little different. What's likely going to happen is Donald Trump will win the primaries. What we have to be concerned about in 2020 is third-party candidates. And we're probably going to see a few of those. As a matter of fact, I would not be surprised if this Brad Thor doesn't win the nomination in 2020. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs third party. And that is going to really screw things up. That's going to hurt our chances so bad, folks. And really, I think that it will likely give the Democrats the White House. That's what I think will happen. So yes, I do. I feel very strongly. Again, I know this is still 2 years out, but again, I wanted to spend some of tonight's show talking about the future, talking about where we're going. Because this is important, folks. This is our future. This is our future. So again, with regards to 2020, I feel very strongly that as conservatives, we need to rally around Trump. We need to rally around Trump. Now, are there Republicans out there who would be better as president than Donald Trump? Probably, to be honest. Look, Donald Trump has impressed me so far, but he's not the most conservative Republican out there. There are people who would be better in the Oval Office than he is. But even so, if those people run third party in 2020, we need to reject them. We need to rally around Trump. Why? Why? Because he's our best chance of maintaining the White House. He's our best chance of maintaining the White House. If we hand over... Look, the worst possible situation is if Democrats win the Senate in 2018 and then the White House in 2020. All of this work that Trump has been trying to do will be basically for nothing. It will have been for nothing. And yet that's, it's certainly a possibility. Mitt Romney's out there right now. The guy can't even commit to backing Trump in 2020 yet. Newsmax.com reporting on this. Former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney said Saturday that he would make a decision on whether to support President Donald Trump in 2020 down the road as he campaigns for a Senate seat in this November's elections. I will make that decision down the road, Romney, the 2012 presidential candidate, told CNN. As a person of political experience, if I endorse someone, I'll want to know what's in it for Utah and what help would he provide for us on key priorities in Utah. So I'm not a cheap date, he said. And that's that. So, look, I think that mentality is wrong, to be honest with you. I think that, I think that we need to rally around Trump in 2020. He's not perfect. Nobody is perfect. I don't agree with every single thing he says. I don't agree with every single policy proposal. But again, in 2020, Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, is our best chance at making sure the Democrats do not reclaim the White House. And so we need to rally around him. There's no room for this, well, I don't know if I'm going to support him. Well, I don't know, maybe I'll support a third party. None of that. None of that. But anyway, folks, there you go. So my message to the Republican Party really is quite simple. Don't get comfortable. Do not get comfortable. Because I know a lot of you are dismissing the claims of this blue wave that's supposedly coming, saying, well, there's no blue wave, they're crazy, we're gonna win in a landslide victory, it's gonna be it's gonna be a cakewalk. Don't think like that. Don't think like that, because when we start thinking like that, when we get complacent, that's when things go wrong. The chances that the Democrats could take the Senate in November are very real. They're very real. And if we kind of sit down and say, well, we're going to win anyway, we're fine, it's going to be a piece of cake, no problem at all, I'm telling you, we're going to regret it. We're going to regret it. Because, folks, here's the thing. This war between liberty and tyranny is far from over. It's ongoing. Yes, we have control of the of the Senate and the House and the White House. But that doesn't mean that liberty has won. That doesn't mean that tyranny is gone. Tyranny is still lurking in the shadows. It's still out there. It's still a threat. And if we turn our backs, folks, I'm telling you, if we turn our backs, if we blink even for a second, all could be lost. So Republicans out there, don't get comfortable. All right, I'll be right back.
The Jason Beely program is on the air. Get used to it. You're listening to The Jason Beely Program, the ultimate escape from political correctness.
Folks, there's a great piece up right now on the Daily Caller, written by Peter Parisi, talking about how the GOP's best defense against a massive blue wave in 2018 is a good offense. And he's absolutely right. He writes in part, Republicans need to go on offense if they hope to hold midterm losses to a minimum in the House and retain their Senate majority. Republican candidates need to put the Trump economy front and center in the campaign, including the Labor Department report from April 5 that the total number of people receiving unemployment benefits fell to the lowest level in 44 years this past March. More importantly, they need to put a human face like that of Jessica Hodge on the benefits of the Republican tax cut bill signed into law by Trump in December. Their TV ads should show footage of Mrs. Pelosi, that is Stretch Pelosi, referring to the tax cuts as crumbs and vowing to repeal them if Democrats reclaim Congress alongside that of the Hurricane West Virginia woman on April 5, effusively thanking Mr. Trump for the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Again, that's referring to Jessica Hodge. The tax cut saved Hodge and her mail carrier husband, Tony, $2,417. And so this Parisi is saying that these sort of messages should be front and center in the months leading up to the 2018 campaign. And I agree. He writes, it's still the economy, stupid, and Republican campaigns this fall need to pointedly ask voters whether they really want to return to the policies that wrought economic stagnation during Barack Obama's presidency, because that's exactly what they will get if Democrats reclaim control of Congress. The bottom line is, in electoral politics, as in football, the best defense is a good offense. In other words, fight fire with fire. And you know what, folks? I would even take it a step beyond that. You see, as I've been saying for really my entire time in political commentary, been doing this since 2008, throughout my entire time on the radio, television before this, I've been saying that one of the biggest problems with the GOP is that they're not aggressive enough. And this is why, by the way, I could never be a politician, because you can't get me to put on a suit and tie and go up there and, be civil and listen to all sides and try to be equal. And screw that. I think that we need more politicians in the Republican Party who are willing to fight fire with fire, who are willing to call a spade, and go after the Democrats full force. We don't have enough of those types of conservatives in the Republican Party. Now, I've always said that the best type of a conservative is a fearless one. Right now, I think one of the biggest problems with the Republican Party is that we have too many fearful Republicans. I really do. I mean, we have nearly the entire Democrat Party filled with socialists, statists, Marxists. I mean, almost the entire Democrat Party. There's so many low-hanging fruits. Republicans should be out there left and right, not only advocating and advancing their own policies, but exposing the policies of the left. Talking about big government, talking about statism, talking about how they want less liberty and the Republican Party wants more liberty for you and your family. Talking about how they are essentially legalizing theft through the redistribution of wealth. Talk about how you stand as the Republican for the opposite of that. You keep most of what you earn. This should be the kind of aggressive mentality that the Republicans should have going into 2018 and beyond. We need to get aggressive. We need to fight fire with fire. I agree with this writer for the Daily Caller. The best defense really is a good offense. It's true. The Republican Party wins, folks, when it is confident, when it is bold, and when it's unafraid to promote conservatism. What we see too many times today is, well, people like Mitch McConnell, who are frankly afraid to promote conservatism. But again, history has shown us that when Republicans go out there, they take a bold stance, they're confident in their views, they're confident when it comes to promoting conservatism. That's the key. That's what wins this election. You look at Reagan. More recently, you look at Trump. Two perfect examples of this. So, in my opinion, folks, again, I'm a little worried about 2018, but if Republicans want a chance to minimize the number of seats they lose in the House, they want a chance to retain the Senate, they need to fight fire with fire. They need to get aggressive here. Don't just play on defense. Play on offense a little bit. Go out, attack. Get it done. All right, I'll be right back. There are some Democrats that you just kind of want to go away. You know what I mean, folks? There's some Democrats that go out there and whenever you see their face or hear their words, you just think to yourself, just go away. Why are you still here? One of these Democrats, or should I say Marxists, is none other than Bernie Sanders, who's out there now saying that, look, if Democrats win back the majority this November, that Donald Trump's agenda is dead. The Hill reporting on this one. Senator Bernie Sanders predicted on Friday that President Trump's agenda would be dead if Democrats win a majority in either the House or the Senate in the upcoming midterm elections, according to the New York Times. If Democrats, I really got to work on a Bernie Sanders impression. It's really tough. Bernie Sanders, he got the... You got to learn how to not pronounce your R's correctly if you want to do a good Bernie Sanders impression. I said, if Democrats control either the House or the Senate, Trump's agenda is dead. He also said the establishment Democrats are still, I think, looking toward candidates who can self-fund. All right. During the 2016 presidential campaign, Sanders was able to successfully fund his campaign. So, you got the point. Sanders is out there saying, look, if Democrats win, Trump's agenda is dead. We got that. You hate Donald Trump. You hate his agenda. Apparently you hate liberty. My question to Bernie Sanders and his ilk is, what exactly are you proposing? What are you running on exactly in the 2018 midterms? Other than, well, Donald Trump, he's a sexist and he's a racist and he's a bigot. What are you running on exactly? What have you guys done, you Democrats? What have you accomplished? Other than talking about Trump and Russia nonstop. What have you done? Well, we launched an investigation and, we found nothing. But, we're out there all the time, calling out Donald Trump and exposing him and, didn't really lead us anywhere. But, we're going to, take the Senate back or we're going to defeat Trump's agenda. What have they done, these Democrats? I don't know. If I were them, I would be worried. I really would. I mean, look, I think that Republicans are going to have trouble in the 2018 midterms. I think the Democrats might very well have trouble as well. I don't know what they're going to run on. Look, this election is going to be so interesting. We're going to see what happens. We're going to have to wait and see, because I think that I think both sides have their fair share of problems. And of course, it's going to come down to the American voter to ultimately make the final decision. All right, let me get on to this audio clip from Hillary Clinton. She was speaking yesterday, as a matter of fact, at the 2018 Penn World Voices Festival. And of course, she took some time to not only make up excuses as to why she lost against Donald Trump, but she also said that we're living in an era, I believe, we're living through an all-out war on truth, facts, and reason. Yep, here she is. Listen.
Well, today we have a president who seems to reject the role of a free press in our democracy.
See, remember when I said that there are some Democrats that just want to go away? You're just, just leave. Just leave us alone. Go somewhere. I don't care if you buy an island, go there, live there for the rest of your life. Just leave us alone. Hillary Clinton is the person that comes to mind. I don't know why she's still in the national spotlight. Why is she still out there? Anyway, keep listening.
Although obsessed with his own press coverage, he evaluates it based not on whether it provides knowledge or understanding, but solely on whether the daily coverage helps him and hurts his opponents. He has referred to the media as an enemy of the people.
And it is! I love this, by the way. The Democrats love to hold this against Donald Trump. How dare he say that the mainstream media is an enemy of the people? It is! The modern-day mainstream media, in its current state, yes, it's an enemy of the people. Why? Because it's feeding the American people lies. That's why. It's feeding the American people fake news. How could something, an institution that routinely lies to the American people, possibly be a friend of the American people? How could it be anything but an enemy? I don't care why that's so controversial. The Democrats hate that, by the way. How Donald Trump said that. And I think it's great because it's right on the mark. It's right on the mark. Keep listening.
He has suggested that broadcast licenses of some news networks should be challenged.
Who cares? Now, let me ask you this. Have the Democrats ever challenged Fox News in the same way? Of course they have. The Democrats would love nothing more than to do away with Fox News and talk radio, by the way. They'd love to do away with it all. There have been efforts in the past from the left, from radical left-wing organizations, to do just that. Does Hillary Clinton care about that? No, of course not.
He wants to block the sale of CNN to AT&T for the same reason. And he has repeatedly threatened Amazon because Jeff Bezos also owns the Washington Post, a newspaper defying the odds and showing what many thought was a dying business model can be a success. For anyone who thinks our country isn't vulnerable to propaganda or attempts to suppress free expression, you only have to look at the 2016 election.
No, excuse me. You only have to look at the mainstream media. You only have to look at Hollywood. You only have to look at social media sites. You only have to look at the college classroom. Suppression of ideas? Are you kidding me? Anyway, now she's going to go on about the election, and she's going to say that, the Russians were to blame. The Russians are the reason why she lost, and if it weren't for the Russians, she would have done so much better than she did. The excuses with this woman, I mean, honestly, it's so pathetic at this point. So utterly pathetic. Keep listening. Here she goes.
Which was a case study in the weaponization of false information and outright lies against our democracy. We now know that Russian agents used Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube, even Pinterest.
Don't you hate when Hillary Clinton tries to sound like, she's like down with it, like she's like hip and cool. She tries to, it's so obvious that she intentionally throws things in there like, and Pinterest, like she's trying to somehow relate to America's youth, and it just always sounds so bad. I think there was one time where she mentioned something about Snapchat, It's just, I don't know. This woman is so deranged. She is so, her mind is floating around in outer space. And so I don't know why she's always put out there in the national spotlight. I don't know why so many people in this country are, attracted to her, I guess you could say. I don't get it. She's a dingbat. Keep listening.
I still am trying to figure that one out.
Right.
But they use these very well-trafficked sites to place targeted attack ads and negative stories intended not only to hurt me, but more importantly and lastingly, to fan the flames of division within our society.
Yeah. The hypocrisy, you have to laugh at it. You have to laugh. It is so hypocritical. Everything she's saying here, the liberals do. Everything she's saying, the liberals do. Fanning the flames of divisiveness, is that what she said? Gee, who does that? Spreading fake news and false information and propaganda? Gee, who does that? The liberals do that. As a matter of fact, they did it all throughout the 2016 presidential election. To defend who, Hillary? You! To defend you. And she has the nerve to accuse Trump and the Republicans and her political opponents of doing this? It's just so unbelievable. The hypocrisy from these people.
They posed as Americans, pretending to be gun rights and
Talking
Black
about the
Lives
Russians.
Matter activists. They even held phony demonstrations. Now, the Russian disinformation campaign was successful in part because America's natural defenses have been worn down over the years by powerful interests that want to make it harder for us to distinguish between fact and fiction.
Okay, again, who does that? Who makes it harder for us to distinguish between fact and fiction? The liberal media. The liberal media.
And it's been abetted to some degree by the way politics has been covered. We are living through an all-out war on truth, facts, and reason.
You bet we are. You bet we are. It's just that, Hillary, you think your side is on the side of truth and facts and reason. No, it's not. Your side is the side of lies, and whatever the opposite of reason is. Lunacy, stupidity. Anyway, so that's Hillary Clinton, folks. She was out there. Again, that was an audio clip from yesterday. Living through an era of, we're living through an all-out war on truth, facts, and reason. Anyway, just go away, Hillary, honestly. I know you still, you can't comprehend the fact that you lost. It's over. Leave us the hell alone. I'll be right back. So did you guys hear that our friend David Hogg has a book deal now? Oh, yes. He's coming out with a new book about the, I believe it's about the March for Our Lives rally and, his stance against guns, or as he calls it, common sense reform. It's a new book. It's coming out. I don't even know when. It's called Never Again. Never Again. No, I'm sorry. It's called #Never Again. That's the official title. It wasn't good enough to just say Never Again. He had to have the hashtag in front of it because, he has to be a hip millennial. So I'm just throwing that out there because if any of you are looking for some kind of, a new brand of toilet paper or whatever, there you go. David Hogg is out there now. I've actually been meaning to talk about this for a few days. He's out there now calling for another boycott of 15 financial firms over their investment in gun manufacturers. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. Honestly, one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Washington Free Beacon. Gun control activist David Hogg on Tuesday called for the boycott of at least 15 financial firms because of their investments in gun manufacturers. Now, let me ask you this question. What in the hell do any of these financial firms have to do with a mass shooter walking into a public place and killing innocent people? What do they have to do with anything? Well, they fund people who make guns, who get their hands on those guns and then kill innocent people. What? I mean, the logic here alone is just so utterly stupid. It's so stupid. You're going to go after the people who fund the gun manufacturers, who make the guns to sell to the gun stores, to sell to people, some of whom might use that gun for killing innocent people. Is that the logic here? And we're supposed to believe that this David Hogg kid is, a bright, up-and-coming young person? Are you kidding me? This person's out there on the news and stuff. The liberals are holding this idiot up. This David Hogg? Kid's a joke. What the hell do financial firms that invest in gun manufacturers have to do with a mass shooter? They're not to blame. Gun manufacturers aren't to blame. Gun stores themselves aren't to blame, unless, of course, they did something illegal with the sale of that weapon. The only one to blame, folks, is the shooter. See, this is just so stupid. It's illogical. Hogg, an 18-year-old student who survived the February mass shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, used his Twitter platform to push for the boycott of 15 financial firms, specifically the Vanguard Group and BlackRock. Hogg then tweeted out a list of 15 financial firms, instructing his followers to, quote, feel free to tag these companies. While the tweet does not say which gun manufacturers the financial institutions have investments in or a source for the data, the screenshots appear to show the number of shares the firms have in the gun manufacturers. See, folks, you know what this reveals to me? In addition, well, we already knew that David Hogg was a dunce, but and he's coming out with a book, by the way, just so you know, Never Again, with a hashtag in front of it. You know what this reveals to me? This reveals to me that despite the fact that David Hogg goes out there and he tries to, make it seem like he's a moderate when it comes to firearms. He really does. I've heard several different segments and clips and so forth of David Hogg saying, look, everybody, we're not coming to take your guns away. We respect the Second Amendment. We want to uphold the Second Amendment. We just want common sense reform. Just like every other typical left-wing politician out there. That's what he does. But the reality, folks, is that this guy, David Hogg, is a far-left extremist. That's what he is. That's what he is. I'm sorry, there's no way to get around it. He is as anti-gun, as anti-Second Amendment as it gets. It's not moderate. There's nothing common sense, independent about him. So he's a centrist. Really? He's not. This David Hogg, in addition to being utterly nonsensical, illogical even, he's an extremist. He really is. Go after the financial firms who are funding these gun manufacturers. How stupid can you be? I'm sorry. Maybe I'll get banned by YouTube again. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow. God bless, and God save this great nation.